Ryan, one of the guys Indians fans are familiar with sent down the young shortstop, Andres Gimenez. How has he been his first week or so down AAA?
Well, the defense, I'm sure Tribe fans remember seeing, is very, very good. He had a game where he had I'm talking about spectacular highlight reel plays. In my time with the Clippers going back to 2009, I'm not sure I saw one guy have as good a game defensively as Gimenez did that day. Obviously, we have seen some pretty good shortstops come through here in Columbus. Francisco Lindor, Eric Gonzalez, Jose Ramirez was a shortstop at one point long ago. And Gimenez, at this point, I'm not quite ready to put him in the Frankie Lindor category defensively yet, but with the plays that he made, the tools certainly are there. Offensively, it's been not quite as smooth, but it's been pretty good. He puts together pretty good at bats. He's had some hot stretches, currently batting .279. It's such a small sample size, you don't want to read too much into any of it. But what you can see is a young man, and by the way, he is a very young man, just 22 years of age, with tools. And at some point, those tools, you hope, develop, and he becomes a consistent performer at the major league level offensively because his defense is already there. He can play shortstop. We've seen him at third base. We've seen him at second base. He's versatile as well. Of course, the Indians love defensive versatility, but he is an everyday major league shortstop as long as he can hit. He didn't do that at the beginning of the season. He did okay last year and shortened the 60-game season. And, of course, because he was up all year with the Mets, lost his rookie eligibility, so he's not listed on the prospect rankings. But this is a guy still, just as I said, at 22 years of age. His best baseball is ahead of him, and it's going to be exciting. He doesn't have to hit a ton, right? If he can hit 270, 280 at the major league level, that would be huge. Of course, in this day and age, 270, 280, that is really doing work. But if he can hit a little bit, he doesn't really have to provide power. He's a good base runner. He can be kind of a cornerstone for that Indians team, which needs defensive help right now.
Yeah, and, they rebuilt his swing up here, and then shortly before they sent him down, and that's kind of why they want him. They want him to get solid with what he's doing, and the average sounds like he's putting together some pretty good at-bats.
He is. He definitely is. He hasn't looked overmatched. Some of the guys on the team right now at the beginning of the season have looked overmatched, and he does not. He'll strike out like everybody does. He'll ground out. He'll fly out. But he's putting together good at-bats and making pretty solid contact. And he also had a stretch where he was hitting really, really well. He went 0 for 5 in his first ball game, and when the sample size is as small as it is right now, an 0 for 5 can really skew your batting average. So hitting almost 280 with one of those on your record means that outside of that, you hit pretty well. So I think there are definitely signs for optimism for Cleveland Indians fans that he'll get back up there probably at some point this year. I don't know how long it will be. Swings take a while. You got to get comfortable with what you're doing. You have to refine maybe your approach a little bit to go with your new swing. So, give him some time to do that. And my expectation is that this is a guy with enough good look to his game. He passes the eye test in a lot of regards, that it won't be long before he's back in Cleveland.
Another name that Indians fans will be somewhat familiar with, Ernie Clement. How is he doing down there for the Clippers?
Ernie is just a ball player. It's fun to watch him. He's a shortstop prospect. The Indians in the Baseball America top 30 prospect rankings coming into the season had 10 guys listed as shortstops. So Ernie had kind of fallen down the prospect rankings a little bit because so many shortstops were on the way up and into the organization from outside from a year ago. But he is definitely a player. I don't know if shortstop is his long-term major league position or not. He certainly looks fine at that position. But then, I don't know if he's got the range or quite the arm of some of the other guys like Gimenez we were just talking about a moment ago. But he can play. You can put him just about anywhere, put a glove on his hand, and he's going to put together a professional baseball game. He was in left field last night in Indianapolis and really made a nice play on a fly ball going back. I said on the air, he made the catch casually but not flippantly. He just knew where to get to make the catch. And sometimes when you have infielders that move to the outfield, you kind of watch their feet and you watch how they move their arms. And you can tell when a guy is not necessarily comfortable chasing a fly ball. They kind of race it to the spot rather than get to the spot and make the catch. Ernie seems very, very comfortable at any spot on the field, whether it's second base, at third base, shortstop, and then in the outfield, as we saw last night. From the offensive side of things, he's among the league leaders in doubles. Now, take into account, we're about a month into the season, and he missed 2 weeks almost with a leg injury. So to be among the league leaders in doubles, playing only half the season, means he's hitting a lot of doubles. He doesn't have a home run yet. He's not going to be a huge power guy at the major league level, but when you are splitting the gaps and as a good base runner taking that extra 90 feet, he is certainly a guy that appears to have the tools. Now, I don't want to put this on him yet because he is still a young player and is not established, but think of a player sort of like a Jason Kipnis, who is just a gamer, who knows the game of baseball, who plays it hard, who really seems to have a joy in playing the game. So that's the kind of player I think that Ernie Clement can be, and he's not quite there yet. Obviously, the Indians felt comfortable having him in on the lineup card for the doubleheader the other day, and I don't think it's going to be too long before they see him up there as well. And who knows? There are a couple of guys up there with Cleveland who fill kind of a similar role that if they do not perform better, might get swapped out for a guy like Ernie Clement.
Last position players I'll ask you about. A couple of guys who appear to be struggling just by the numbers, and Indians fans will know these guys. Oscar Mercado, Bobby Bradley, under 200 batting averages for both of them. Have they been struggling as much as it appears to? They appear to by the numbers?
It's a strange thing. I would not say they have been unlucky. Some guys, in a shortened season, we're just a month in, you can say, well, a lot of hard hit balls, just finding gloves. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case for either one of those guys. But there have been positive signs. And of course, they're entirely different types of players. Bobby Bradley, a first baseman with power. His job is to hit home runs. And he's still doing that. He had his 8th last night. He's been able to hit home runs to all fields. Just not enough consistent contact, particularly with runners in scoring position, because when he goes to the major league level, his role is going to be that of a run producer. And the batting average with runners in scoring position is not where he needs it to be, quite frankly. The majority of his home runs have been solo shots, which is not his fault. If there's nobody on in front of you and you hit it over the wall, it's a solo shot. But there have not been enough hits with men on base. Oscar Mercado is a different type of player entirely. He has a lot of his value, obviously, in his glove. He can play all 3 outfield positions, and he can play them well. He can cause havoc on the bases. He is 3 for 3 in stolen base attempts this year, but the old saying is you can't steal first, right? So he's got to find his way on base more. And yesterday was a good sign. He had 2 hits. He had a home run. He also had a double. So hopefully that's a sign for Oscar that things are beginning to trend in the right direction. I'd say 2 or 3 times this year, he's had a couple of games, or maybe even a couple of games in a row where you think, okay, maybe he has found his swing and things are going to get rolling, but then it just hasn't yet. That doesn't mean it won't. Certainly, he's got a track record. Think back to his rookie year where the Tribe fans will remember he was very, very good up in the major leagues. So if he can get back to that type of offensive performance, there's enough value in the rest of his game that makes him a good part of a major league roster. He just has to find a way to get on base more. And that's true for, a lot of the Cleveland Indians, certainly. And it's the case for a lot of the Columbus Clippers. Of guys who have played half the games, I think there are 5 batting under the 200 mark. Batting averages are down all over baseball, but certainly when your batting average starts with a 1, it's not what you're looking for. And these guys know that. Everybody understands the numbers. Everybody gets the stat packs every day. And you wonder if at some point that doesn't start to weigh on guys and they start to press. And everybody knows you grip the bat tighter, you're just going to find more and more holes in your swing.
Let's shift our focus quickly. A pitcher, Kirk McCarty. Tell me a little bit about him. It's an intriguing guy that has pitched pretty well for the Clippers.
He has. He's going tonight for us in Indianapolis. He's 3-0 on the season with an ERA a little over 4. He's really only had 1 start that you would even say was mediocre, and that was the second time in as many starts against Omaha. So they saw him the first game of the series. We're playing 6-game series in the minor leagues this year, so he pitched game 1 and game 6. So Omaha had gotten a pretty good look at him, and they had moderate success against him. Outside of that, I really enjoy watching him pitch because He's a give me the ball, give me the sign, set the mitt, I'm going to pitch. He's working very, very quickly. He commands his pitches, doesn't blow you away with velocity, but is the kind of a guy that you think of a Josh Tomlin or a Ryan Merritt that can get outs without the blazing fastball because he really knows how to pitch.